Hello, COMM 113 Section 5 class. My name is Pedro Jesus Quiñones, and here is my poster. I am Mexican, so I must speak Spanish. I wanted to start off with a story. Before I was born, my parents moved from San Leandro to Fremont, and just like my sister, who was a couple years older than me, they wanted to teach me both Spanish and English. Now, that did not work very well for me. Well into 4 years old, I wasn't speaking much of anything at all. It got to a point where my parents took me to see a specialist, where they told them that some kids just don't uh, learn very well from speaking two languages. So he told them to choose, okay, Spanish or English, and they chose English. So do I agree with this phrase? No, obviously not. I am Mexican and I do not speak Spanish. I know many Mexicans, both in my family and friends, that don't speak Spanish. It's a national and ethnic culture that has more to do than just language, even though language is, of course, a huge part of it. Before addressing the next question, another short story. My aunt worked at my elementary school, and she also spoke perfect English and Spanish. And one day, there was a woman that the faculty couldn't understand. She only spoke Spanish. A lot of times they called my aunt up for this, but they couldn't find her, so they found me. They pulled me out of recess and asked for me to translate. But of course, I didn't know Spanish. So all I can do was shrug. I didn't know what this woman was saying. And I remember the faculty member that pulled me aside said, "Aren't you Christina's nephew?" Christina being my aunt. And this really hurt me because it's put this caveat on me that if I didn't speak Spanish, I wasn't part of my own family. I wasn't part of my own heritage or my own culture. Now, this and numerous other stories like it affect how I behave and act. I still say a lot of Spanish words because that's just the household I grew up in. I say gracias instead of thank you. I say salud instead of bless you when someone sneezes. I say como se dices instead of how do you say. But I found the amount of Spanish that I use and the frequency of which I use it changes depending on the situation I'm in. If I'm with a lot of my non-Hispanic friends, I try to speak less Spanish. I don't really want them to pick up and bring up my culture, my heritage, because they might ask, "Hey, do you know Spanish? Like, how much can you say?" Which then just gets really embarrassing for me when I have to admit, no, I don't know a lot of Spanish. And it reinforces this doubt in my mind that I'm not Mexican enough in front of these people. And in front of my family, I try to say more because I want to prove to them that I am Mexican enough. Even with my own family, I get made fun of and teased for not knowing enough Spanish. I try to learn, and I've even taken several classes on it. But to this day, I'm not very good with languages, not even English. I'm more of a physics and math type of person. So when I learn, I frequently mess up, which leads to people making fun and teasing me both inside and out of my family. So then I just stop trying. Not knowing Spanish really affects my relationships, especially with my family. While not exclusively, language is still a huge part of any culture, including Mexican culture. At family gatherings, I feel very excluded because there are a lot of people, a lot of them are bilingual who can speak English and Spanish, but prefer to speak Spanish in their family. But there's even a lot of people who only speak Spanish, who I can't really communicate much at all. I find it very difficult to build relationships with my grandparents because they only know Spanish, and it's very embarrassing for me to always have to ask my parents to translate. Um, when I try to make friends, especially with Hispanic people, I might see them speak perfect Spanish with their parents, maybe on the phone or something, and then that makes me nervous because I'm afraid of what they'll think of me when they see that I don't speak Spanish, definitely not as much as them. Will they think any less of me? Will they think I'm any less of a Mexican because I can't speak Spanish? So I might try to avoid those conversations, even though we definitely have a shared cultural experience, and there's probably a lot in common we have with that cultural experience that we can use to build a friendship. So I reject this phrase by just trying to live my authentic self. I may never learn Spanish. I would like to someday, but that's not on the cards for me right now, trying to focus on the rest of my education. But I don't let that define me. With my friends, I try to express other aspects of my identity, while still sharing a lot of my culture with them. With my family, like I said, there is a lot more to culture than just the language, and I try to use that shared cultural experience to build a relationship with my family. I try not to shy away from the fact that I don't know Spanish because not knowing Spanish doesn't take away any part of my identity, and it certainly does not make me any less Mexican. Um, Thank you for watching, and goodbye.